Welcome to the third meeting of the first session of the 11th Parliament, which is taking place here on a very rainy morning here at Victoria Street in Roseville. The third meeting of the third session of the 11th Parliament is being held under the Commonwealth of Dominica Constitution, and it's being held at the House of Assembly on Victoria Street in Roseville today, Tuesday, the 25th day of July 2023. This is a special meeting of Parliament as Minister for Finance, Economic Development, Climate Resilience and Social Security, the Honourable Dr. Eleventh McIntyre, is presenting his first budget to the Parliament. 19 years and counting has been Minister for Finance, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, the Prime Minister of Dominica. The Minister has been delivering budgets the Prime Minister has been delivering budgets for the past 19 years, and this is the first time in 19 years that someone else other than Roosevelt Skerrit is delivering the budget. Dr. Eleventh McIntyre joins a very small list of people who have actually delivered national budgets. The list is only 9. Vic Rivera, Dame Eugenia Charles, Julius Timothy, Ambrose George, Pierre Charles, Osborne Revere, and Roosevelt Skerrit. They are now joined by Honourable Dr. Eleventh McIntyre as presenting the budget. Dr. McIntyre has presented a $1.2 million budget, $1.2 billion budget, $1,234,524,036. This comprises of over $500 million in recurrent expenditure and $700 million plus in capital expenditure. This budget will take into account the many challenges that are currently faced economically on the world stage, and this budget will also be a budget for the people, as has been told to me by the Minister for Finance. It is just about 6 minutes to 10 o'clock in the morning, and of course at 10 o'clock the House will begin with the formal entry of the Speaker, as well as then we'll go into prayers, the obituary and congratulatory remarks. There will be the confirmation of the minutes of the meeting of Tuesday, 25th April 2023. Then there will be the presentation of papers, and the only paper to be presented is that of the draft estimates of revenue and expenditure for the financial year 2023-2024. The Minister for Finance will then present the budget address, and following which the Leader of the Opposition, as expected, will be granted the same amount of time as taken by the Minister for Finance to respond to the budget, to present a rebuttal to the budget. This may take place this afternoon, this may take place tomorrow. The House will decide when it will break after the Minister of Finance budget, and then we go to the Leader of the Opposition. Of course, Honourable Jesma Paul Victor will be presenting her first budget rebuttal, and as is precedent before, the House will allow Ministers of Government 1 hour to present and other Members of Parliament a half hour to present. This is the situation here. A number of people have already gathered. I've seen members of the Diplomatic Corps, former parliamentarians. Very soon we expect to see the formal entry of the Prime Minister, and then of course the entry of the Minister of Finance. Permanent secretaries and other distinguished guests, they are here as well. We just see the entry of the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Public Works, Mr. Emil Lansford, and also former Minister of Government, former Member of Parliament for the Portsmouth constituency, Mr. Ian Douglas. This is the situation here, the situation report, as we await the start of the third meeting of the third session of the 11th Parliament.
offices of rulers and councils for the welfare of society and the just government of man. We beseech thee to behold with thy abundant favor as thy servants, whom thou hast been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Let thy blessing descend upon us here in this Parliament assembly, and grant that we may, as in thy presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote thy honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests thou hast committed to our charge. All which we ask in the name and for the sake of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Obituary and congratulatory remarks. Confirmation of minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning and I started looking for my speech. And I was just about to message the FS about when's my speech for this morning. Then I recognized that I'm not the one delivering the speech this morning. Well, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the minutes of the meeting of Tuesday, 25th April 2023 be confirmed as circulated.
Seconded. Anybody seconded?
Seconded, Mr. Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the minutes of the meeting of Tuesday, 25th April 2023 be confirmed as circulated. Those in favor? Those against? The minutes is confirmed as circulated. Announcements by Speaker. Presentation of papers.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table. Draft estimates of revenue and expenditure for the financial year 2023-2024.
Government notices.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice that at a later stage of the proceedings, I will be moving the motions and taking all stages of the bill shortly entitled 2023-2024 Appropriation Act 2023, standing in my name on the order paper.
Statement by Minister. Public business, government business, motions.
Be it resolved that this Honorable House approves the estimates of expenditure for the financial year ending 30th June 2024, amounting to $1,234,524,036, the details of which are contained in the draft estimates of the Commonwealth of Dominica for the year ending 30th June 2024. Mr. Speaker, I rise to deliver the budget address for fiscal year 2023-2024. This is my first budget address. Therefore, permit me to begin by giving thanks. Mr. Speaker, I thank the Heavenly Father for giving me another opportunity to serve my country. I stand here before you today because of the confidence that the Honorable Prime Minister has placed in me. I am here in this honorable house because of the solid support of the good and sincere people of the Roseau Valley constituency. I recognize the importance of the portfolio bestowed upon me, and I assure the people of Dominica of my full commitment to the task at hand. Mr. Speaker, we are all aware of the call by the Honorable Prime Minister in November 2022 for a national reset in Dominica. I wish to take the liberty to share with this honorable House what that national reset means. To understand the need for a national reset, one must appreciate our present-day circumstances and the environment that has led us to this point. Mr. Speaker, there is general consensus that we are lingering in uncertain times, but I hasten to say, times filled with opportunities. Here in Dominica, we have been subjected to many natural disasters, including more recent Tropical Storm Erika and Hurricane Maria. Like the rest of the world, we too were impacted for a prolonged period by the pandemic. When we all thought that the pandemic was over and we were ushering a period of recovery, then came the Russia-Ukraine war. This conflict has triggered inflationary shocks in many parts of the world, including here in Dominica. We are also cognizant of the current geopolitics of the world. The reality is that countries are looking more inward rather than outward, and the support that we would have received in the past is not as readily available as it once was, particularly at a time when climate change continues to impose hardship on our people. There are uncertainties ahead, and therefore it is important for us as a nation and as a people to implement the national reset articulated by the Honorable Prime Minister. A national reset which requires all of us to reorient our minds to review our priorities and needs. We must change the way we operate in order for us to sustain the investments and gains we have made, and to help us maneuver the numerous challenges confronting the world, none of which we as a nation have control over, but all of which we have to navigate. So it is in this context, Mr. Speaker, we have identified 5 fundamental pillars for a reset within the government service. More effective governance. Strong governance is critical to the reset. Therefore, we will ensure that the following is in place. Stronger oversight of the implementation of government's projects and programs. Become more accountable to and in touch with the needs of our citizens. Modernization of the electoral system and reform of the justice system. Public service modernization and transformation. A reset requires major improvement in the way government relates to achieve this modernization and transformation. We will, A, implement measures to improve delivery of service to the public, maximize the human resources already available in the public service for greater productivity and efficiency. Retool interns under the National Employment Program with additional skills such as digital skills. Digitalize more services and systems and improve public communication and awareness. Greater focus on the productive sector, including the allocation of more of government's resources to projects and programs to facilitate sustainable economic growth and increase the number of permanent jobs available in the country. Strengthen social protection with a focus on the safeguarding of the vulnerable, particularly senior citizens and the differently abled. Reform of our education system and enhancing the health system and programs focusing on prevention, particularly with non-communicable diseases. Ensure financial stability. Mr. Speaker, a strong and sustainable fiscal position is required to adequately respond to the needs of our citizens and ensure economic stability. Therefore, the reset will focus on rationalized public expenditure, debt sustainability, and increased revenue. Mr. Speaker, it is the view of this government that all of these are essential prerequisites to securing a resilient Dominica, to ensuring that our country can withstand the external shocks and climatic impacts amidst a very volatile global environment. Mr. Speaker, the IMF estimates that Dominica's economic grew by 6.9% in 2021 and 5.7% in 2022. This strong performance was mainly due to an increase in construction activity, a rebound in the tourism industry, and a substantial rise in agricultural output. This is indeed a significant achievement, given the lingering effects of COVID-19 and the far-reaching consequences of the Russia-Ukraine war. Growth of roughly 4.7% is projected for 2023, fueled in large part by major ongoing investments in agriculture, tourism, and construction. Mr. Speaker, during fiscal year 2022-2023, central government's fiscal position improved owing to the economic growth and performance, plus our concerted efforts to reduce expenditure and increase collection of tax arrears. At the end of fiscal year 2022-2023, central government reflected a primary balance surplus of 0.9% of GDP. That is, following primary deficits of 5.8% and 5.5% of GDP at the end of fiscal year 2020-2021 and fiscal year 2021-2022. Mr. Speaker, while we have achieved much, we recognize that there is much more work to be done to strengthen government's fiscal position, including reducing the national debt in order to continue on the path to fiscal resilience. To this end, Mr. Speaker, fiscal year 2023-2024 budget is being presented in the context of the need for a national reset and mindful of the current global environment and the unknown challenges which lie ahead. Mr. Speaker, for the fiscal year 2023-2024, I propose recurrent expenditure inclusive of those provided by law totaling $639.6 million. The Ministry of Finance, Economic Development, Climate Resilience, and Social Security has received the largest allocation of the recurrent estimates, totaling $271.9 million, or 42.5%. Of this amount, $106.6 million is allocated to the payment of debt service, while $45.1 million is appropriated for retirement benefits. The non-contributory pension, which now extends to individuals 65 years and over, and insurance premiums for earthquakes, tropical cyclone, and excess rainfall perils with the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, CRIF, are also included in the allocation for the Ministry of Finance. The second largest budgetary allocation of $73 million, or 11.4%, is for the operation of the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and Social Services. The Ministry of Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training, and National Excellence will receive the third highest allocation of $71.5 million, or 11.2%. An amount of $59 million, or 9.2% of the total recurrent expenditure, is allocated to the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs. The Ministry of Public Works and the Digital Economy will receive $55 million, or 8.6% of the total recurrent expenditure. Mr. Speaker, I now move to the capital estimates. For the fiscal year 2023-2024, I propose total capital expenditure of $701.6 million. Office of the President, $1 million. National Security and Legal Affairs, $5.2 million. Elections, $700,000. Office of the Prime Minister, $265.7 million. Finance, Economic Development, Climate Resilience, and Social Security, $11.1 million. Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue Economy, $47.5 million. Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training, and National Excellence, $23.6 million. Housing and Urban Development, $69.1 million. Health, Wellness, and Social Services, $11.7 million. Environment, Rural Modernization, Kalinago Upliftment, and Constituency Empowerment, $35.9 million. Tourism, Culture, Youth Sports, and Community, $21.3 million. Establishment, Personnel and Training Department, $12.5 million. Public Works, Public Utilities, and the Digital Economy, $138 million. Foreign Affairs, International Business, Trade and Energy, $19.7 million. Cabinet Office, $1.2 million. Labor, Public Service Reform, Social Partnership, Entrepreneurship, and Small Business Development, $11.7 million, all totaling $701.6 million. Mr. Speaker, I must emphasize that although the recurrent budget for this fiscal year has been reduced, all of government's social programs, which are currently in place to support the vulnerable, will continue. Including the Public Assistance Program, the Foster Care Program, the care of the juveniles who come in conflict with the law, our Centenarian Program, and the 65 and over non-contributory pension program, and of course, the Yes We Care program. We will also continue to support the non-government institutions which care for our most vulnerable, particularly senior citizens, and begin implementing the recommendations made by the recently appointed National Advisory Board for Health and Social Care of the Elderly to improve their standard of care and quality of life. In April this year, we passed into law 5 bills to protect the rights of women, children, and the elderly, and victims of domestic violence, and to improve their access to justice. They allow the vulnerable to seek redress on a number of matters, guide the provision of child care services, facilitate proper administration of the matters related to domestic violence, and enhance the delivery of justice for the protection of children. Mr. Speaker, we have also continued to address the housing needs of our people under various programs. Currently, 344 homes are under construction. This includes 256 housing units in 11 communities, namely Grand Bay, Point Michel, Wesley, Scott's Head, Pebush, Vickers, Penville, Woodford Hill, Kinfield, Trafalgar, and Egliston, and 88 houses in other communities. We will construct another 327 houses this fiscal year, including the relocation and resettlement of some residents of Good Hope, Saint-Sauveur, Petit-Soufrière, and Campbell. Under the Future Housing Development Program, 50 homes will be constructed in Warner and Cotton Hill to help more young professionals, the youth, and the employees in the public and private sector to realize their dreams of owning a home. Mr. Speaker, an impediment for many people, especially young people, who would like to build their own home is the affordability of land. Government has already implemented measures to help reduce those costs, particularly as relates to land transfer fees. Government will go further now and will make available at least 500 lots for sale in various communities at reduced cost to public officers. This, along with the favorable rates provided for public officers at the Government Housing Loans Board, will significantly enhance the prospects for public officers to own their own homes. Mr. Speaker, I also remind all young people, 40 years and under, preparing to own their first home of the added benefit of a $10,000 housing grant to assist with their ambitious undertakings. This program started during 2020-2021 fiscal year, and to date, government has dispersed grants amounting to 1.9 million to 200 applicants. An additional 1.5 million has been allocated to continue this program in this fiscal year. Mr. Speaker, as relates to health, government is on a journey to promote the health and wellness of our citizens and residents. It is a journey that has witnessed the completion of 2 hospitals, several health and wellness centers, the commissioning of new state-of-the-art equipment to improve and expand health services available in the country, the establishment of the Dominica Hospitals Authority, and the ongoing training of our patient care providers. All of these make more specialized and improved care available to the public. Mr. Speaker, there is no one who can dispute the fact that Dominica's health system is far better now than it has ever been. One can now receive care at a hospital that is equivalent to that of developed countries. In Dominica, our main hospital has 7 operating theaters, a state-of-the-art emergency room with its own operating theater, a special eye care, modern and private rooms for patients, an intensive care unit with isolation rooms, a fully equipped diagnostic department with modern diagnostic equipment, a cardiovascular imaging center and telemedicine center, plus a fully equipped laboratory which allows us to greatly expand our testing capacity. In addition, this government has invested significant amounts to build our human resource in health. We have many more specialists than we ever had before. These specialists, along with the state-of-the-art hospital and equipment, have allowed an expansion of health services in the country, thus allowing us to avoid, in many instances, the cost and inconvenience of having to travel abroad for treatment. Mr. Speaker, we have taken note of some concerns expressed by the public about their experience with the healthcare system and will continue to work on the following this year: improving patient care and patient and family experience at our health centers and hospitals. This will include the enactment of 5 bills that will, among other things, govern and guide the operations and practice of our medical practitioners, namely the Medical Profession Bill, the Pharmacy Bill, the Nursing Profession Bill, the Medical Laboratory Bill, and the Digital Health Bill. Patient outcome in terms of their results after being treated at our hospitals. And thirdly, the welfare and well-being of nurses, doctors, and staff of our hospitals and health and wellness centers. Mr. Speaker, the health and wellness of our citizens is one of the priorities of this government. To ensure wellness, we must engage in preventative behaviors and practice healthy habits. The national reset also requires people to take better care of themselves to help reduce the high incidence of non-communicable diseases, such as diabetes, hypertension, cancer, and cardiac disease. These diseases impact family life, livelihoods, productivity, and by extension, the country. Government has also been investing in sports to promote the health and wellness of our people, to foster community engagement, and to help advance our people. We have long recognized and positioned sports as an integral means to human advancement and a vital enabler of sustainable development. Mr. Speaker, sports is also a key component of our development agenda. This is why, over the years, the government has made significant investments to facilitate the growth of sports and the sports industry. We continue to invest heavily in modern sports facilities and services to allow our people to fully explore their skills and talent. This year, we will strengthen our sports programs to benefit our youth, to ensure that our student athletes are provided with the right support to perform at the highest level. We will also focus on the construction of 2 major national facilities in Portsmouth, an Olympic standard track and field facility and an indoor sports facility, all with the necessary associate amenities. We will also continue the upgrading of several hard courts and playing fields around the country, including the installation of lights. Mr. Speaker, it's imperative that as a country, we continue to give support to the efforts of our sports personalities and organizations. In this regard, a framework for the establishment of a National Sports Council is being developed. Additionally, the National Sports Trust Fund, which was promised by this government, has been established. Sports personalities, particularly those who represent Dominica at the regional and international level, will benefit from that fund as a means of encouraging them to focus on enhancing their talent and skills and motivate them to continue to excel. We are proud of the achievements of all our young people in the field of sports, and I recognize at this time cricketers Alec Atanaz, who is presently on the West Indies team. Both Test and ODI teams, Mr. Speaker, and Kevin Hodge, who made his ODI debut in June 2022 when West Indies played the UAE. On July 1, 2023, they were both appointed sports ambassadors. Government will continue to support these 2 players, as well as the 2 ladies who made the West Indies under-19 women's cricket team, Abini Seja and Anisha Fontaine. Young Oshino Fontaine, who was the leading run scorer in the West Indies under-15 cricket tournament, and Stefan Pascal, Dominica's under-19 captain, who was selected by Cricket West Indies to attend training in preparation for its under-19 tour to Sri Lanka. We shall be providing support to these and other athletes to ensure their continued success. This government is committed to leading the way through its investment in sports and in young people in sports. Mr. Speaker, over the years, this government has made substantial investments in our children to provide them with the best possible start in life and to take advantage of all opportunities for their advancement. We have ensured not only universal access to primary, secondary, and tertiary education, but access to early childhood education as well in our schools. We went a step further and implemented a program to ensure there is at least 1 university graduate in every household in Dominica, at a great cost to the state. I might add, Mr. Speaker, this is because this government is committed to the advancement of the lives and livelihoods of our people. This program has resulted in thousands of Dominicans coming from every stratum of society, from each community in Dominica, holding university degrees. No doubt, Mr. Speaker, this government will record in history as being the government which has invested the most in the education of our people. Our current education system has served us well over the years and has produced sound quality students. But the national reset requires us to radically review our education curriculum given the national and world realities. The world is changing dramatically, and we must adapt and adjust to keep pace with it. We must have a paradigm shift in our approach to the education of our people, and simply put, the National Reset demands education reform. The reform will require the engagement of the entire country if we are to achieve the desired results. It is government's intention to pursue an inclusive process during this fiscal year to develop a curriculum which is more responsive to the challenges and new realities, and that will prepare our children to take advantage of the opportunities which are available in Dominica, the region, and the rest of the world. I speak, for example, about advancements in the use of artificial intelligence, the digital economy, geothermal energy and its potential applications for use in developing green products like green hydrogen and ammonia, and many others. We need to equip our students and our people with the skills to take advantage of these opportunities. We believe with the reform of the education system, we can create a curriculum that produces a holistic, well-rounded child who is prepared for the future. A child who will not just survive, but one who can succeed and thrive in any condition, culture, or environment. The education reform will be carried out with the support, guidance, and advice of some of our regional and international partners. Presently, Dominica is one of the 4 OECS member states benefiting from funding for sector development under the Program for Educational Advancement and Relevant Learning, the OECS PEARL. The PEARL focuses on 4 major pillars, namely curriculum reform, early childhood education, special educational needs, and leadership and management. Work has already begun on a review of the primary school curriculum within the 4 participating member states. Therefore, our work here will help influence the outcome and new curriculum in Dominica. Mr. Speaker, this new approach, greater emphasis will be placed on the development of technical and vocational skills, and this is already in train. The new school at Goodwill will be constructed with the support of the government of the People's Republic of China. That is during this fiscal year, has been specially designed to facilitate technical and vocational education. When completed, this new school shall be established and designated as a national center of excellence for technical and vocational education. Once we have agreed on the blueprint for our new education system, we will invest further in the training and development of our teachers and other education providers. We will also ensure that the appropriate resources are made available to the schools. Our aim is to empower them to deliver to the nation students based on the new curriculum, teaching methodologies, and testing requirements. This year, we will also continue to improve our education infrastructure at all levels. Mr. Speaker, work is advancing on the expansion of a new and modern Dominica Grammar School that will contain all the physical components necessary for the new education age of which I speak. We will also continue the refurbishment of the Dominica State College. I am pleased to inform this Honorable House that the contracts have been signed for the construction of new primary schools at Bellevue-Chopin, Calibishi, Thibault, Tetmon, and Seneca, and the secondary school at Goodwill, which I mentioned earlier. We thank the government of the People's Republic of China for their solidarity and support in rebuilding these schools destroyed by Hurricane Maria. In keeping with the government's policy to improve education at all levels, this year we will refurbish the dedicated spaces for early childhood education in the Bagatelle, Castle Bruce, Jones Beaupier, and the Caleb Laura primary schools, and complete the space at the Baroness Scotland Primary School in Bécades. A new early childhood facility will be established in Salibia, and provision has been made for the establishment of early childhood dedicated spaces in the soon-to-be constructed new primary schools at Calibishi and Thibault. Mr. Speaker, we continue to look after the interests of the approximately 4,000 permanent state employees engaged in the public and police service. We appreciate deeply their commitment to the delivery of high-quality services to the public, and at the same time, are cognizant of the state's role in their personal development. This is why, over the years, this government has implemented numerous initiatives to improve the livelihood of our public officers. We understand that to advance our development agenda and provide high-quality service to the public, we must have a public service that provides sound leadership for resilient, sustainable, and innovative development. Over the last 3 years, government has been undertaking an organizational review and reclassification of public service and the development of a public sector transformation strategy. As part of this process, a job evaluation and reclassification exercise has been undertaken, and in this new fiscal year, government will proceed to implement the first phase of recommendations from the review, which include a new salary structure that will increase salaries for employees at all levels, with the exception of level 1, which remains unchanged. Overall, 2,940 public officers will benefit from the proposed salary structure in this first phase. The quantum of the increase by levels will vary. The proposed salary structure will result in an overall increase estimate at 6% in salaries. However, some officers will benefit from up to 13% increase in salaries. This new salary structure will result in an initial increase in government's wage bill by an estimated $6.1 million annually. In addition to the revised salary structure, recommendations from the job evaluation exercise will also be implemented in this fiscal year. A total of 261 positions were benchmarked and evaluated. As a result, 73 positions will be upgraded. It is important to note that a significant percentage of the upgrades will be reflected in the essential services, including medical doctors, nurses, fire officers, and police. For example, mental health nurse and nursing attendant will move from level 2 to level 3. Primary care nurse from level 4 to level 5. District midwife staff nurse from level 5 to level 7. Senior nurse, ward sister, and nurse practitioner from level 8 to level 9. These and other upgrades within the public service, along with the revised salary structure, will take effect from September 1, 2023. And will increase government's wage bill by an estimated $9 million annually. Mr. Speaker, I wish to emphasize that this is just the first phase. A special management committee has been assigned to monitor the implementation of the reclassification and make recommendations for other positions for further review and evaluation. A standing job evaluation committee has also been assigned to conduct continuous review of positions beyond this exercise. It is expected that all these initiatives will lead to increased efficiency, effectiveness, and improved delivery of service to our citizens and residents. I extend special thanks to the CARICAT team of consultants, the senior public officers, and job evaluation committees for their extensive work and effort throughout this process. The Public Service Union, Police Welfare Association, and Dominica Association of Teachers must also be commended for their active roles in supporting this review. Mr. Speaker, we are placing sharp focus on the security of the people of this country. While Dominica continues to be a safe place, there has been a notable increase in crime in the region. This government is implementing several measures to ensure Dominica remains a safe place for our citizens and visitors. We have increased the number of officers in the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force to enhance the security of our communities. Police officers are continuously being trained locally, regionally, and internationally. We are strengthening community policing and have engaged a community police consultant to spearhead that effort. Also, to facilitate easier communication with the residents, particularly during and after disasters, every police station in Dominica is now equipped with high-frequency radio capability. We have strengthened surveillance at our borders with additional scanners at our ports to deter and detect illegal imports, and we will heighten surveillance during this fiscal year. The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force and the Customs and Excise Division will continue to collaborate with external law enforcement agencies, which has proven to be very beneficial in fighting crime in the country. We commend the customs and police officers for their vigilance. Mr. Speaker, as we increase our efforts to deter crime, we must correspondingly strengthen our justice system. Therefore, during this fiscal year, we will focus on strengthening the Magistrates' Court to improve its administration and overall functioning to facilitate more timely, effective, and just disposal of matters before the court. As its starting point, during this fiscal year, the government will initiate a thorough review of the administration and functioning of the Magistrates' Court. The objective of this review will be to ensure that appropriate processes and procedures are put in place to enable all court users to have matters in which they are involved processed, tried, and disposed of in a timely, efficient, and just manner. The government will also take necessary steps to ensure the availability of sufficient and appropriate administrative staffing, enhancement of recording, video and other electronic equipment, improvements in case scheduling and case management, and last but not least, redoubled efforts to attract additional legally qualified magistrates. Mr. Speaker, as part of the national reset, government has taken a deliberate decision to increase its budgetary allocation to the productive sector in order to facilitate the emergence of new businesses and the expansion of existing businesses, create additional jobs, expand the economy, and contribute to the resilient and sustainable development of Dominica. This includes new investments in agriculture, value-added and manufacturing, the blue economy, tourism, renewable energy, services for export, the digital economy, and commerce. Mr. Speaker, the development of our international airport has started. The international airport is critical to the overall transformation of our economy and will facilitate the growth of all sectors of the economy, and in particular, our agriculture, tourism, and trade sectors. The contractor has mobilized and the works are ongoing on construction of temporary supporting facilities for the workshop and storage, as well as for mixing concrete and asphalt. Over the next 2 years, we will see significant progress. This fiscal year, the continued development of the site will include major earthworks, construction of culverts, and new roads, and the installation of the perimeter fence. Work is expected to begin on the passenger terminal building in August 2024, and the runway, taxiway, and apron in October 2025. Mr. Speaker, now is the time for us to begin preparations for the dramatic change that will take place in the economy. All sectors need to align themselves to maximize the many opportunities which will be derived from this very important project. We only have to look at the positive impact of the introduction of the American Airlines direct flights from Miami to begin to understand the transformational impact of an airport that will allow direct flights from Europe, Canada, and different parts of the United States. Our hoteliers, tour operators, bars and restaurants, farmers and fisherfolk will all benefit. This will open new avenues for the export of our products and result generally in the expansion of the economy and improvement in the lives and livelihoods of all our people. Mr. Speaker, in the 2020-21 budget address, government announced its intention to construct a marina in the Cabrits as part of our development plans for the North and indeed for the entire country. We also indicated at that time that work would commence on this project within the next 2 years. Mr. Speaker, I am happy to report to the House and the people of Dominica that the government has signed an agreement for the construction of a marina at the Cabrits. The feasibility and environmental studies, as well as the designs, have been completed. We have been assured that construction of the marina will begin by November this year. The marina will provide dedicated slips for yachts with a length of up to 60 feet, as well as flexible spacing for berthing, super yachts, a repair yard, fuel farm, customs house, administrative building, and commercial spaces to be leased to businesses desirous of offering goods and services to visitors. Mr. Speaker, these significant investments in improvement of access to Dominica is supported by the substantial efforts that the government continues to make in the improvement of our road network. The 127 million East Coast Road from Boadiab to Hatton Garden via Casabros and the Kalinago territory is scheduled to be completed by December 31 this year. Though it is incomplete, residents of the area can already attest to the improvements in the comfort, safety, and driving experience in the completed section. We are investing to enhance economic opportunities for the people of the East. The road will benefit residents, tourism stakeholders, and farmers in that area. We look forward to witnessing the expansion of activity and transformation of the eastern communities. Mr. Speaker, it is said that road connectivity is an integral part of development, and this is why this government has prioritized and upgraded and developed our roads. The Hillsborough to York Valley segment of the Layu Valley Road has been completed at a cost of $20 million. And work will commence on the segment from Layu Bridge to the Warner intersection very soon. We recognize the importance of this road to the farmers, tourism operators, and other residents traveling from the West Coast to the East. Mr. Speaker, the Roseau Enhancement Project will also continue this year. You will recall that under the previous phases of this project, the government constructed the new West Bridge, several retaining walls to protect Roseau and Pottersville from floods, rehabilitated the road along the riverbank, and established the Roseau Promenade, now the center of entertainment in Roseau. We will continue this year with the installation of sidewalks along Virgin Lane and the rehabilitation of Great George Street. Mr. Speaker, presently agriculture contributes $274 million to Dominica's GDP. Our goal is to develop a resilient agriculture and fisheries sector that becomes the leading contributor to economic growth, contributing at least $700 million to GDP by 2030. This goal is fully aligned with the main objective of the OECS Food and Agriculture Systems Transformation Strategy, FAST, developed in response to the wider CARICOM Single Market and Economy 25 by 2025 initiative, which is geared at reducing the food import bill by 25% by 2025. Mr. Speaker, Dominica is currently a lead contributor to food security in the OECS. However, much more is required from Dominica, from all stakeholders, government, our farmers and fishers, manufacturers, supermarkets and consumers, if Dominica is to not only ensure its food security, but also to play a larger role in the collective food security of the OECS region. As was articulated in the last budget address, our Agriculture 2030 plan focuses on 1, increasing production of agricultural produce, livestock, horticulture, and fishing to eliminate the need for imports and to increase our exports. 2, enhancing the Nature Island brand and expand market share locally, regionally, and internationally. And 3, increasing agro-processing output to add value to our agricultural produce. The first component, that is increasing production, is being addressed by the Ministry of Agriculture, while components 2 and 3 are dealt with by the Ministry of Trade. Mr. Speaker, to achieve the 2030 goal, government has decided to increase its investment in all 3 components of the 2030 plan. To support production, the Ministry of Agriculture budgetary allocation increased from $40.5 million in fiscal year 2021-2022 to $55 million in fiscal year 2022-2023. This year, the ministry allocation is proposed at $56.2 million. Mr. Speaker, we have begun implementing our plan to increase production of agricultural produce, livestock, horticulture, and fishing. I will now present some of the initiatives currently being pursued. To support the substitution of food imports, we have begun the expansion of strategic crops such as white potato. To achieve this goal, 174 farmers cultivated 55 acres of white potatoes, yielding a harvest of 601,517 pounds, representing 68% of our annual imports. It is our intention to achieve an 80% self-sufficiency rating in the production of white potatoes. We will also implement an import substitution strategy for leafy vegetables, tomatoes, onions, CMOS, pork, chiffon, rabbit, meat, mutton, poultry, prawns, and tilapia. The National Abattoir will be fully rehabilitated and equipped to support our import substitution program for pork and poultry. Our target is for the substitution of at least 15% of imports from local production by 2025. The 13 million tissue culture laboratory at Portsmouth is nearing completion. When completed, the lab will provide for the rapid multiplication of high-quality disease-free planting material, which will support the expansion of target crops and improve the resiliency of our agriculture sector. We express our thanks to the government of the People's Republic of China and to the Chinese Agricultural Technical Mission for making this possible. We have also signed a technical assistance agreement with the government of the Republic of Cuba. Under this agreement, we'll receive 20 technical specialists to provide technical support in tree crops and livestock expansion programs at an estimated cost of $800 million. Sorry, $800,000. Mr. Speaker, an additional $2.7 million will be spent to redevelop the agricultural centers at Portsmouth, Woodford Hill, Londonderry, and Lapland to supply agricultural material to farmers. We will also upgrade priority agriculture infrastructure, such as the Plant Protection and Quarantine Center in Longhouse, the agricultural centers of Woodford Hill, Londonderry, and Lapland, the Farmers Service Center at Gullet River, and 7 fish landing sites at Scott's Head, Soufriere, Faucolet, Newtown, Bioche, Mahu, and Saint-Sauvé Mr. Speaker, that is at an estimated cost of $11.4 million. We will also make an additional investment of $1.8 million in livestock development to import new breeds and improve existing breeds of sheep, goat, rabbits, and pigs, and operationalize the Central Livestock Farm Laboratory to reproduce a consistent supply of young animals by artificial insemination. Mr. Speaker, our farmers have indicated that the scarcity of farm labor is their main challenge. The government has therefore appointed a 15-member task force on farm labor to address issues of access, cost, and availability of labor for agriculture, fisheries, and agribusinesses. The task force has advised on the adoption of an entrepreneurship approach to provide specialized farm services and the introduction of a policy for the supply of migrant labor through an organized recruitment program with support from the International Organization on Migration. We are also giving attention to farm roads. A $5.8 million contract for the rehabilitation of the Chatwell Road connecting Bellevue-Chopin to Pichelay was awarded, while sectors of the Lapland, Grand Bay, Cuba Road, and Beauplan roads were completed. 25 other critical farm roads have been assessed, and as announced by our Prime Minister in last year's budget address, we will tackle farm roads development by rehabilitating a number of them each year until all are fully repaired. Mr. Speaker, to ensure that we create the right environment to support the growth of the sector, we have reactivated the Agricultural Investment Unit with a new mandate to support large commercial producers and to provide management oversight of key agricultural investments. There are also tremendous opportunities for adding value to our fresh produce, particularly our toloma and cassava, our freshwater prawns and tilapia, and sea moss. We shall continue to provide support to these cultivations for increased production to generate alternative sources of income and wealth creation. Mr. Speaker, we are calling on owners of idle lands to turn these investments into production by cultivating tree crops such as avocados, coffee, cocoa, coconuts, and citrus, targeting at least 2,000 acres of pre-established 2.5 to 10-acre plots. In relation to government investment to enhance the Nature Island brand and expand market share locally, regionally, and internationally, we have established an agricultural produce procurement facility with Dexia valued at $5 million. This allows Dexia to purchase a wider range of farm produce to systematically supply the local market, particularly supermarkets and hotels, as well as export to the region and beyond. Last fiscal year, we began preliminary work for the establishment of the Buy Dominica Depot in other countries in the region. This initiative is expected to significantly increase demand for Dominica's produce and products, thereby increasing our exports. To increase agro-processing output, to add value to our agricultural produce, government is approaching this on several fronts, aimed at assisting agro-processors to upgrade their businesses and increase production. This year, government has allocated an amount of $1 million to provide operating space for agro-processors in several communities, including Roseau and Portsmouth. A sum of $1 million has also been allocated to provide grants to juice producers. Mr. Speaker, the $27.8 million concessional loan facility at the Aid Bank will remain available to our farmers and agro-processors, while government will continue to provide small grants and technical support to help with their cost and product certification. Mr. Speaker, while farmers and agro-processors continue to work hard to produce, to bring in foreign exchange, to assure us of food security, to create jobs, and the government continues to mobilize significant funds and make available technical support in collaboration with bilateral partners and multilateral organizations, the true success of agriculture rests with the consumers of our country. For agriculture to reach its optimal, Dominicans must consume what we produce in this country. In short, the success of agriculture and our 700 million goal depends on all of us. So, Mr. Speaker, I have just presented to the House highlights of the government's investment in agriculture. It is anticipated that the ministers responsible for agriculture and trade will give further details in their presentations. Suffice it to say that there is no doubt that this government is serious about agriculture. Mr. Speaker, in 2019, government announced its vision to develop a regenerative blue economy, which will support the health of our people, safeguard the natural environment and protected areas, increase investment opportunities, create more jobs, help more citizens to generate wealth, and build further resilience in our economy. We will invite community participation to ensure that our development is properly adapted to the local ecosystems, culture, and economic circumstances. The sustainable use of our marine resources will include adopting healthy lifestyles in harmony with nature, promoting sustainable production and consumption patterns, and building resilience that will reduce disaster risk and allow for mitigating of or adapting to climate change. In 2022, government invited the National Geographic Pristine Seas team, working with Dynamic Planet, to assess Dominica's economic opportunities in the blue economy and make recommendations on how these opportunities may be explored. Mr. Speaker, these experts have already made preliminary recommendations to us that will help improve the health and resilience of our coastal ecosystems, increase our coastal fish stocks, improve inshore fishing, and grow the ecotourism industry of the Nature Isle in order to build a sustainable blue economy in Dominica and increase local economic benefits. We expect the final recommendations to be presented to us in November of this year, but acting on the preliminary recommendations, during this fiscal year, government will undertake several measures to advance the blue economy. Mr. Speaker, the jewel of Dominica's water is its sperm whale residents. To help preserve Dominica's sperm whale population and increase the economic benefits of ecotourism, we shall establish the first sperm whale reserve in the world. Currently, there are no established shipping lanes in Dominica, so cruise ships and cargo ships sail all over the critical habitat of the sperm whales, with high risk of strikes. To address this, we propose to use the particularly sensitive sea area, PSS mechanism, prescribed by the International Maritime Organization, to implement a ban on the sailing of cargo ships and cruise ships in the sperm whale reserve area. These large ships would approach port following dedicated shipping lanes, thus reducing encroachment on the habitat of the sperm whales. This mechanism is used in many parts of the world and does not result in undue cost to the shipping industry, but would have enormous benefit for Dominica's blue economy. Mr. Speaker, we will propose regulations regarding the number of vessels and people that can visit with the whales at a given time. We will also establish the appropriate fee structure to maximize economic benefit without increasing the human footprint of the whale families. Part of the fees would then be reinvested in best-in-class whale tourism management. Mr. Speaker, in our two current marine protected areas, Scottshead-Soufriere Marine Reserve and the Cabridge National Park, we will increase the level of protection of these marine reserves to increase fish abundance, maximize the economic benefits from scuba diving in the reserve, and enhance coastal fisheries around the reserve because of fish spillover. Surveys have shown that Makuba Fishing Bank harbors an abundance of marine life, although at a lower level than expected for an offshore seamount. We will therefore create a marine protected area around the Makuba Bank, banning bottom fishing but still allowing Dominican fishers to use surface line fishing. The economic benefits of these combined actions far exceed their cost and are a triple win for all Dominicans. A sperm whale reserve will be a huge marketing tool for Dominica's destination as an ecotourism mecca if managed well. This will also require a marketing campaign for us to feel as proud of our sea and whales as we are of our forests, lakes, and rivers. To support these initiatives, we will implement the National Action Plan to prevent, deter, and eliminate illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing in collaboration with the Caribbean Regional Hub. To strengthen cooperation in the use of innovation and digital technology to fight fisheries crime. In addition, we will take to Parliament the required amendments to the Fisheries Act of 1987 in order to facilitate the regulation of the dive sector, recreational fishing, whale watching, and water sports activities in Dominica. Mr. Speaker, the blue economy is on a course to become another major pillar for Dominica's sustainable and resilient economic development. It will be pivotal in promoting the marine component of Dominica as the nature isle of the Caribbean, building collaboration and cross-linkages between tourism and agriculture. Government is very excited about Dominica's economic prospects in this area and the opportunities it will bring for nationals. Mr. Speaker, despite the significant global challenges from 2020 to 2022, the tourism sector has shown strong recovery, evidenced by estimated growth of 85% of GDP in 2022, and further growth of 13% is projected for 2023. Importantly, there has been a notable year-on-year growth in stayover arrivals, and we are on course to surpass our pre-COVID tourist arrivals by the end of this year. Destination Dominica continues to receive numerous accolades. We were recently named the #1 Caribbean destination by Travel and Leisure, in the top destination by Forbes and Lonely Planet, and one of the world's greatest places by Time magazine. In addition, we were highlighted in the 2023 Sports Illustrated Swimsuit edition, showcasing our beautiful black volcanic sand beaches. These accolades affirm the appeal of our destination, elevating our global image and driving economic growth. Mr. Speaker, we plan to build on this momentum to increase the awareness of Dominica while making it increasingly easier for visitors to arrive at our shores. We are set to expand the sector to increase stayover visitors, increase visitor spend, increase employment and resilient livelihoods. We have set an ambitious target to increase stayover visitor arrivals by 500,000 by 2030. The road to 500,000 visitors requires strong investments in capital projects to the tune of $21.4 million. In fiscal year 2023-2024, we will embark on several strategic initiatives that will boost visitor arrivals, transform our tourism infrastructure, and create sustainable employment opportunities for our citizens. This year, we will continue to focus on 4 key areas to enable to achieve our desired results. Marketing. Government will continue to implement initiatives to ensure that our targeted visitors are aware of all we have to offer. Access. We continue to make investments to improve and expand our current air access capabilities, making it easier for more visitors to visit while our international airport is being constructed. We will also continue to develop strategic relationships with key partners who can help us improve access and fully utilize our expanding capabilities. Visitor experience. Our visitors arrive here. We need to ensure that we can deliver the experience that they desire, one that is uniquely Dominican. To do this, we need to ensure that our people on the front lines of the industry are properly trained and able to deliver on our promise. Product development. We need to maintain and develop the many attractions and activities Dominica offers to visitors. We have many natural attractions, but we need to ensure that we make them easily accessible and safe for our visitors to enjoy. Marketing. Mr. Speaker, provisions have been made in this year's recurrent budget for marketing destination Dominica. This is to ensure that we continue to tell our authentic story about all Dominica has to offer. We will also continue the target destination marketing approach, which we started last year. This will allow us to reach those in key source markets who are looking for the exposure and experiences that we offer. Mr. Speaker, we can all see the positive impacts the direct flight to the U.S. continues to have. It is therefore incumbent upon us to do everything possible to retain and grow this service. We are therefore continuously making improvements to our main airport facilities, enhancing both the capacity and visitor experience. A key project for us in this period involves improvement to the runway at Douglas Charles Airport. This initiative is a necessary precursor to the construction of our international airport. It will truly place Dominica on the global tourism map in advance of the commissioning of the international airport. We must keep the momentum and embrace the current high demand for destination Dominica in order to achieve our visitor arrival target and contribute more significantly to the local economy. Recognizing the potential of marine tourism, we are actively pursuing the commencement of the construction of the marina in Portsmouth, a project that will greatly enhance our appeal to yachting enthusiasts and contribute to our stay-over arrival. This project will improve our capabilities and visitor experience for those who seek the enhanced services that this marina will provide. Mr. Speaker, we are focusing on preparing our people to be better able to deliver the services that this industry demands. While government continues to work on putting in place the necessary infrastructure, visitor experience also depends on the service that we deliver as a people. It has to begin at our ports, continue with our taxi service, service at our hotels, restaurants, and guest houses, our vendors, and how they present of a Culinary Arts Institute at the Dominica State College is a key initiative, and we will intensify training and development in culinary-related fields. Additionally, as part of our digital transformation, we'll be introducing e-gates at our major ports of entry and providing technology for cashless transactions to select tourism service providers. Mr. Speaker, in consultation with the vendors and tourism stakeholders, we have concluded jointly that the Vendors Arcade will enhance visitor experience and increase income opportunity for our vendors. Therefore, this fiscal year, government will proceed with the construction of a Vendors Arcade. This arcade will afford vendors adequate space for displaying and selling their products, as well as space for restaurant and entertainment. One of the major projects is the construction of the cable car to the boiling lake. This project, which has already created significant local employment during its mobilization phase, will continue to offer long-term sustainable jobs when completed. This world-class project will provide visitors with a unique experience and perspective of our beautiful island and its natural wonders, providing an unmatched tourism experience. Mr. Speaker, as the world becomes increasingly conscious of the negative environment impacts of mass tourism, we recognize the importance of sustainable tourism. Therefore, we will continue to create new sustainable products with our natural resources, including opportunities in the blue economy, agriculture, sports, services, and our natural environment. Mr. Speaker, the government of Dominica made major strides during the last fiscal year in its geothermal development project. This is one of our 4 transformative projects with 3 critical objectives. 1, to reduce the cost of electricity in Dominica, to generate 100% of our electricity from renewable sources, and thirdly, to create new commercial activity based on our abundant geothermal resources. Over the last 8 months, 2 additional geothermal wells required to operate the planned 10 megawatt power plant in Loda were drilled and tested. This fiscal year, our focus has shifted to the 2 remaining components. 1, the construction of the power plant, and 2, the building of a new high-capacity transmission network. To ensure greater resiliency, the transmission lines from Loda to Fonkole will be placed underground. We are investing in developing the skills of our people so that they can play a major role in the ongoing development of our energy infrastructure. Over the last year, our nationals have benefited from various forms of skills training, including internship during drilling and participation in a 6-month geothermal training program in Iceland. We acknowledge that this has been a long journey, but this government has remained committed to this project because we understand the long-term, permanent, and positive impacts the fully commissioned geothermal plant will have on the cost of doing business, on the electricity bills of consumers, and the huge potential for attracting foreign direct investment because of the reduction in the cost of energy. Mr. Speaker, government continues its mission to drive economic growth through digital transformation. Evidence has shown that the increased use of digital technology and digital platforms helps to streamline operations and reduce costs, save time, increase productivity, make goods and services more accessible, enhance customer experience, and help make timelier and evidence-based decisions. These benefits increase efficiency and demand, save money, and in the case of businesses, result in increased profitability. They also improve the ease of doing business, thereby making Dominica a more attractive destination to do business. There has been notable progress in Dominica's transition to a digital economy, both in the private and public sectors. In the private sector, we have seen the emergence of platforms for online banking, online bill payments, and online shopping, while many businesses have fully digitalized their operations. Government has been playing a major part in this transformation. We have been leading by example by making new digital services available to the public and the public service every single year. As of June 30, 2023, government had commissioned the following digital services: e-payment for a range of government services, e-filing of customs declarations, an accounting software which connects Treasury Division, Audit Department, and village councils to facilitate public support payments at the councils, the online application for birth certificates, an e-portal service which allows government employees to access their monthly pay slips and view their personal information, including leave balances online. Government mail is being delivered using a similar platform as courier services. Completion of travelers' immigration declarations online. In addition, Mr. Speaker, next month, we will launch a single window trade facility called TradeStream to facilitate the importation of goods into the country. TradeStream will allow importers or their brokers to apply to the Planned Quarantine Division and the Ministry of Trade for import permits and licenses, as well as pay customs duties online, all in one system. This means that an individual could ship his goods to Dominica, apply and receive his permit from Planned Quarantine, apply and receive his license from the Ministry of Trade, submit his customs declaration and pay his customs duties in a single system which could be accessed from anywhere in the world. This is a significant, Mr. Speaker, this is a significant achievement for this government and the first system of this type in the OECS. TradeStream will reduce the time for clearing of goods at the customs, which will save cost and increase efficiency at the customs. During this fiscal year, we will begin to work to include the payment of the Dominica Port Authority charges and the issuance of permits by the Bureau of Standards on TradeStream. We will also continue to review our processes at the ports of entry to further streamline the structures and procedures to further reduce import clearance time and enhance trade facilitation. I am pleased to report to this House that in addition to 3 policy initiatives during the course of last fiscal year, this Labour Party government established 15 state-of-the-art innovative hubs across the country, Mr. Speaker, at a cost of $3.1 million. These hubs are located in Newtown, Canefield, Grand Bay, Roseau, Trafalgar, Layu, Maho, Capuchin, Cottage, Vickers, Thibault, Benz,